Hey, how's it going? I've been tagged, so I'm happy to take part in this. This sounds really cool. I've been tagged by Ash from Popcorn and Horror. Great channel, check him out. Does some good stuff, covers a lot of horror movies, loves his horror movies and all that, like I do, covers a lot of stuff like that and collection updates, things like that. So if you haven't, give Ash a check his channel out, give him a look on Popcorn and Horror. I'll leave a link in the description. So I've been tagged for this challenge, and apparently you've got to pick out 31 movies for like the sort of 31 days of horror. I am doing like my own sort of thing with first time watches for that, but I'll happily take part in this challenge. And I've picked out 31 movies, all on physical. Like, I was going to do a few bits of some that are on streaming, but I thought I'd show the physical stuff, so I've picked out 31. I haven't even put my favourite horror movie in here. I've tried to be a little bit diverse. I've put some heavy hitters in, some iconic films. I've put a few like more, not necessarily niche, but perhaps lesser known to the casual audience, this will be for the Italian ones I put in here. So I put some like lesser known Italian films in that casual audiences might not be aware of. It might just be more of a thing where horror lovers basically recognise them. Spare the moment video, I only got his message earlier from Ash, so I've quickly sorted it out a little bit, got some movies out the collection, picked them out, 31. No particular order is how I'm going to do it. But this is fantastic, so thanks Ash for letting me take part, because I do this does seem like a fun challenge, and also lets me do it's a cool recommendations video as well. So I'm taking part in the challenge, and it gets me to do a recommendations video, so great stuff. So let's crack on without further ado. So a bit ropey today, like was out late last night. I've not had a lot of sleep. I've probably had about 4 hours sleep. I went to bed at like 5 a.m. and woke up at like 9 odd, sometime after 9. And yeah, I'm really tired. So if I'm a bit ropey, do give me a pass, because I'm a bit so we'll start off with this one, and I think this is for your horror fan, this is a staple, and everyone should see this. Really, it's just probably the best werewolf movie. Debatable, but I would go with this one to kick things off, and I'd say, yeah, An American Werewolf in London. Such a good movie, directed by John Landis. It's fantastic effects, great looking werewolf. The transformation scene is absolutely iconic. I'm sure if you're a horror fan or horror lover or whatever, you've heard people bang on and on about how good the transformation scene is, and that's not to be disregarded. It really is. They're not just saying that. It is like the best werewolf transformation scene you're probably going to see in a movie. All practical, looks great. Yeah, two Americans come to the UK, visit a pub, The Slaughtered Lamb. They're not quite welcomed overly by the locals, because the locals obviously know there's some sort of fishy business going on around the local village, involving a werewolf or what have you. They know there's something out there stalking you at night, stalking the night per se. And yeah, one of them, obviously, he gets bitten in a bit of a showdown with the werewolf, gets bitten. The other friend is killed by the wolf. And then the film goes from there, and it's all about him dealing with basically becoming a werewolf and, transforming into one. It's got some great scenes. The end scene's fantastic. That's American Werewolf in London. Definitely worth a check out. So another really iconic one I picked out, because I think it's just this time of year, and if you've never seen it, you got to watch this. And it's starring Tony Todd, and it is the original Candyman. I think this is a 1992 film. If I'm a year off, give me a pass, because I'm really ropey today. Sorry. So Candyman, starring Tony Todd, great film. A lot of good social commentary in this one. Set in, where's the bugger set? Chicago, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's set in Chicago, and basically set around this legend of the Candyman, from like an ethnic community, and he's like their legend. And yeah, you say his name in the mirror, is it 5 times, and he shows up and butchers you. There's obviously an origin story to the Candyman as well, which I always found really interesting. And don't get me wrong, the Jordan Peele produced one from like 2021 was an okay film and had a pretty good like aesthetic and stuff, but for me, like, it didn't touch this one. I know they had Tony Todd in the final scene, but yeah, the original one just does it for me. I don't like 2 and 3 very much. I do have them to complete the series, but I'm not keen on them. I even thought the new one was better than 2 and 3, to be fair. But he has a great origin story, and I diverted a bit there, but I'd love to see an origin story movie. How he was the lover of this woman in like times when there was a lot more racism and stuff, and he was like a lover to an aristocrat's daughter or something like that, and they basically hunted him down, covered him in like honey and like bees, all, you know, he was smothered with bees to death or something like that. I can't quite remember everything, but that's the legend of his origins anyway. And they should make a film or a TV series about that. It'd be fantastic. But yeah, you got Tony Todd putting in a sort of spooky, like kind of how shall I put it? He can get aggressive, but he's also kind of spooky and like subtle. He plays the Candyman, you know, he's quite well spoken and stuff, and he's got a bit of a tone to him, and he shows up and he butchers people, and yeah, just a great movie, Candyman. Follows the reporter, is it, or the woman trying to find out what's going on about this legend of the Candyman and so on. So she visits the apartment block that's really run down, and a lot of people have heard of the legend, and people go missing and stuff, and it's all very quite creepy. And yeah, brilliant film, Candyman. She's trying to uncover the legend of the Candyman. Is it real? Is it not? Fake? You know, legitimate? And yeah, it's just really cool. I'm a big fan of Candyman. The one scene does make me chuckle though, where he's in the when she's in the mental hospital, and he does you can almost see the ropes where they did the effect, and he kind of just goes out the window, and it looks quite silly, but it's fun. It does make me laugh, that scene. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Another one, which is an iconic one. They're not all exactly heavy hitters in this list, as I stated, but we've got Dawn of the Dead, the original, is it 1978? I think this one, George A. Romero again. Some brilliant social commentary, especially on consumerism. As you see in the film, the zombies in the shopping mall, they're still trying to act out their human tendencies, like to shop, and they're kind of going around, you know, staring all zombified into like window shopping. They're window shopping as zombies still. It's kind of got that little bit of consumerism still in their head, like, you know, in the back of their mind. It's just some brilliant commentary on human beings in this film, you know, not just to do with consumerism or shopping, just in general. Like, it's just so good. Shopping mall scenes are great. Love it when the whole gang's in the shopping mall, all trying to get cozy in that, and they've got a bit of a spree. It's got comedic elements. There's 3 cuts of the film. I've never watched the Argento cut. I need to get around to that. I've watched the shorter one, and I've watched the full one, which is my favourite cut, you know, just the main like 2.5 hour cut where it's got, you know, all the comedic elements are in as well as the scary stuff. But yeah, really fun Dawn of the Dead. It's just one of the best horror movies ever made. Absolutely brilliant. So some more heavy hitters. We will get on to some other stuff. I'm just going through them sort of no particular order, just miscellaneously. And I picked out, of course, the classic Halloween. I think Ash as well mentioned this on his video, and a lot of people will. It's just a fantastic horror movie. Michael Myers, most people know it. Most people aren't even big horror fans or gore hounds know this, and it's not exactly the goriest of movies. It's quite subtle in that regard. It's just very tense and atmospheric, and yeah, it's just got that kind of, he's like a apex predator, Michael is, and it's just a classic. And if you're going to watch that, you may as well go with the sequel from a couple of years later, Halloween 2, set on the same night when he came home, but is set on the night he came home again. Following on, Laurie's been taken to the hospital. She's been hospitalised. Donald Pleasence, Dr. Loomis, who plays Dr. Loomis, is trying to figure out where Michael is. He's still alive, damn it. Some people think he's dead. Some of the police do. And Michael just stalks a hospital, and it's a bit grisly as far as the kills are concerned than the first one. I'd say it's a bit gory and a bit grislier. It's not a better film. It's very good and a fantastic follow-up. But yeah, Halloween 2, if you're going to watch the first one, get on the original Halloween 2. And of course, I did mention this in a video, I think, last week, but I wanted to put it in this list. We have Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, just as I said before in my video, it's dripping with Halloween aesthetic and atmosphere. It's probably one of my favourite Halloween themed movies. Now, as far as actual capturing the magic and the kind of aesthetic of Halloween, I think Season of the Witch just does it perfectly. So good. More Michael Myers here. I thought I'd shove in because I really like these, I thought I'd shove in the Rob Zombie 2007 remake. This is a lot gorier, heavier. It explores the origin story of Michael Myers, like more. Obviously, in the first film, it shows you sort of him being arrested or taken by the police after murdering his sister. In this one, you actually see him go through the kind of struggle. You know, Dr. Loomis is trying to like analyze him. He's played by Malcolm McDowell in this, not Donald Pleasence, obviously. Malcolm McDowell, I think, does a fantastic job as Loomis as well. Malcolm McDowell's a great actor. And he's basically shows Michael as a kid for the first sort of 55 minutes, you know, going through the system and that. You know, he's been put into a mental health like facility, you know, locked up because he's just butchered his family. And yeah, Malcolm McDowell's got to like try and analyze him. He gives up. Michael grows up, and then it basically, the final hour, because it's like a 2-hour film, the final hour is basically a remake of the original one with Rob Zombie's kind of fingerprints on it. And Rob Zombie does a great job. The aesthetics there. It's got Michael in it. Michael's arguably more foreboding in this one and more brutal. Definitely got harsher kills than the original Halloween. It's not a better film by a landslide. That film's an absolute classic, but I think this is becoming a bit of a classic in my eyes as well. As it gets older, I think this is a great remake. I know a lot of people are salty on it, but I tend to go with the kind of thing is like, it's a remake, so at least Rob Zombie, like, he got an offer from the studio to make 2 Halloween films, which he did, and at least Rob Zombie put his own stamp on it, his own fingerprints. He did sort of do a remake of the original with the final hour, but he added that first hour of backstory. A lot of people hated that. I think this is fine as long as you segregate it from the John Carpenter film. So they're both great. I'm happy they both exist because they're just different canon. They're just different takes on the character. It's like comic books. With comic books, you get so many different variations of characters and whatnot. You know, like, it's cool to see this, and you don't have to compare it to the original. The original is a bona fide classic and always will be, but this is a good remake in my opinion. And then the follow-up to that's equally as good. Well, I wouldn't say it's better, but it's equally as good. Like Halloween 2, the next Halloween is it. Laurie's trying to recover from the events of the first film. She works in a bookshop, lives with her friends. Michael's still on the prowl. He's back to Haddonfield, but this is interesting, and I don't want to go. I'll get through the list a bit quicker this time. Well, in a minute. What I do like about this film, it explores the psychology a little bit of Michael. I know a lot of people didn't like that as well from what I've heard and read, but it shows him kind of, he's in a state of psychosis. So this is when you're basically sort of delusional, and you're having these kind of, like, you know, episodes and stuff, perhaps hearing or seeing things that aren't there. And Michael sees, like, you know, he sort of often sees like his mother in a white gown and this horse with her. Quite creepy stuff, but I do enjoy the aspect that they explored psychosis a little bit. It even has a caption about it at the beginning or the end. I think it's at the beginning of the film. It sort of has a definition of psychosis, and I really thought that was quite smart by Rob Zombie. But yeah, a lot of people don't like that one. I think it's really good. So on to some more. Did mention this in a video last week, but because we're doing Halloween lists and I'm doing this tag video response, they're bound to come up again because they're just Halloween favourites of mine. I think Night of the Demons, I need to get this in this year, as well as doing my 31 Days of Horror where I watch the new stuff, which I'm doing all right with. But yeah, I need to get Night of the Demons in. It is just great. It's just a fun movie. It's a little bit campy in parts, but it's really fun 80s, sort of like great 80s vibe to it. Night of the Demons. Did talk about that one last week. And then if you watch the channel, you know how much I love Pumpkinhead. I've got to put Pumpkinhead in a great creature feature. Pumpkinhead, you know, there's a little look at him. Love the creature effects in this one. It's a very linear story. It's a simple story, but sometimes I enjoy just great films that just look great with great protagonists and antagonists and legends and stuff like that, and, you know, some good backstory and stuff. And Pumpkinhead has that. It's got Lance Henriksen playing the father of this son who's accidentally killed in the film. He seeks revenge against those who have accidentally killed his son. He goes to a witch. The witch says, okay, let's do a ritual. She summons Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead is the revenge demon, and he's going after these people who are part of the person who accidentally killed his Lance Henriksen's character's son, and the friends with them. So basically Pumpkinhead's a machine. He needs to get to his target. He'll just take out anybody who gets in the way, basically. If you get in Pumpkinhead's way, you're getting taken out. Awesome film. I love Pumpkin. Like I say, it's a simple story, but I do love simple storytelling sometimes. I don't think everything has to be overly complex and loads of twists. I like that as well, but sometimes I just like a great creature feature, good little story, nice threaded together, just simple storytelling. It's great. Another one I mentioned on the video last week. I've got some different stuff in, don't worry, but I thought I'd do these first. But it's in my this 31 list as well. Return of the Living Dead. It's fun, it's campy, it's a great, like, horror comedy. Yeah, good stuff. Most people have probably seen that, but yeah, highly recommended always. Bonafide classic here from Sam Raimi, had to put it in, and that's Evil Dead. This used to really, when I first watched it when I was a young teenager, it really creeped me out a bit when I saw it on Channel 4 on television late at night. You know, you got some creepy stuff. The demonic, you know, when people are possessed, because the demonic presences are unleashed from the Necronomicon. These group of people staying in a cabin. Ash has got to fight off these deadites. They're what they're called when people become possessed, and they transform into these deadite things. Awesome special effects, really gooey, gruesome. still looks good, I think. Even the claymation scene, I think, still looks brilliant. You know, the claymation scene, some people may say it looks dated. I think it's fine and it looks cool. And that's the original Evil Dead. So there's a little look at that. Love Evil Dead. Another one I just slipped in, and that's Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. So if you want a fun anthology, go for this one on Halloween. I thought I'd slip this one in because, not, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but you know, it might be one that not everybody's seen. So I thought I'd go with Tales from the Dark Side. 3 segments in the film as a whole. It's even got Debbie Harry from Blondie in the wraparound story. She's playing a woman who's kidnaps children and cooks them. That's quite fun. Yeah, it's got Steve Buscemi in it as well. And who else is actually in this movie? Yeah, Christian Slater. Yeah, I remember him in it. Yeah, really good. Tales from Dark Side, the movie. I had to put a Friday the 13th film in, and I thought, I think the first one's fantastic, and I really do like it, but I had to shove in Friday the 13th Part 2. Recently watched this the other day as well. Yeah, I just love the look of Sackhead Jason. This one's actually got Jason doing the killing, and I think it's just, perhaps, I don't know, I'll probably say this and the original are on par with each other, but I'm going to recommend Friday the 13th Part 2. You don't need to have seen the first one to even watch it, because it shows you the scene, you know, the climax and main plot points of the first film in the beginning of that film, with a sort of recap dream sequence. But yeah, really good. Another fun one I'd stick in, that probably a bit of a divisive film. I know a lot of people have come around on it over the years. I only saw this about 4 years ago for the first time, and that's House of Wax, the remake. Now, as far as like being a remake of the Vincent Price classic is concerned, this actually more resembles the film Tourist Trap, funny enough. And I have heard other people say that, and I get that completely, and I think that too. It's more like Tourist Trap, this is. It's branded as the House of Wax remake, but it's more like the film Tourist Trap. It's kooky, it's weird, it's got loads of Waxworks models. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll recommend it anyway, House of Wax. It does even star Paris Hilton in it, but regardless of that, it's a really good movie. And it's also produced by Robert Zemeckis, apparently. So that's good. He's always, you know, did The Frighteners and stuff like that, and produced The Frighteners, should I say. Did Back to the Future, didn't he? And stuff like that. He's a good producer and director, Robert Zemeckis. But yeah, House of Wax, recommended. It's a good one. Gotta recommend Tales from the Hood. So much fun, you know. You'll be knee deep in this. Yeah, okay, won't swear, but if you've seen it, you know what I was trying to quote. You know, you'll be knee deep in the. But yeah, it's got what's his name, Clarence Williams III as Mr. Sims. The wraparound story, it's got segments. I think it's 3 or 4 segments. The wraparound story is a group of sort of gangbangers take refuge in a mortuary, and Mr. Sims, played by Clarence Williams III, is going to tell them some stories, and then he's going to seal their fate. Brilliant, and Clarence William III is so, like, he hams it up so well in this film. I don't think I've even seen him in much before, but he's awesome in this, and I always remember him from this. Tales from the Hood, love it. Just a random, I thought I'd put a couple of random bits in. So I've like put a random slasher in, and that's one from 2015, and this is Charlie's Farm. Now, this is kind of fun. It even stars Kane Hodder, has got a bit of a role in there. You got Bill Moseley, he's a part of the backstory in the film. Nathan Jones, who is I think he was a MMA fighter or something. He's a big guy, like a huge guy, like brooding guy. He plays Charlie, who's the killer. And of course, you got Tara Reid in there. I think she's from American Pie, isn't she? But like, this film's really fun. It's a bit lower budget. It's not overly low budget, but it's a bit lower budget. It's not exactly an exceptional piece of cinema. It's just a fun slasher. Charlie's a great killer. I would have liked to have gotten a sequel to this. It's full of guts and gore. It's got a cool backstory about the killer. It's set on a farm, where these abandoned farm where these group of people go to stay. And just, yeah, it's just pretty awesome, to be fair. I really need to rewatch it. It's really good. It's, like I say, it's quite like, you know, it's not going to be to everybody's taste, but Charlie's Farm, great slasher movie if you haven't seen it. Really fun. I think it's still knocking about. It might be a bit dearer now. I got it for cheap, like pennies, like years ago, but I do think it's gone up a bit now. And I also picked up one of the Blind Dead films, the first one, Tombs of the Blind Dead. This is very atmospheric and, yeah, pretty creepy. The look of them get under my skin a bit, and you can give me all the gore in the world and stuff like that, but it's the creepy things that really do get to me and leave sort of a statement on me. Like, and this film, they're just creepy, man. These Templars coming back from the grave and coming after you, and they're just coming and they're coming and they're coming after you, and it's just, yeah, Tombs of the Blind Dead, really good. Do recommend that one, guys. Another one I think's awesome. I do need to rewatch it because it's been a couple of years, but that's The Kindred. Pretty much a straightforward creature feature, but loads of great effects, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Try and speed it along a little bit now because I just looked at the time and the video's gone on for like 20 minutes. But we've got Satan's Little Helper. So I was about to say Santa, then I've got Christmas on the mind as well coming soon. Satan's Little Helper. Basically, this deranged weird man is wearing a costume, and this family think it's the daughter's boyfriend in the costume, but it's not. It's this weirdo, and he's so much fun, and he's like following around the he's like takes the he's supposed to be the girl, like I say, supposed to be the daughter of the family's boyfriend. They're meant to be like a teenage guy, you know, probably like a 18-year-old or something, but he's not. It's this deranged guy who's just pretending to be that guy, and basically they don't even notice. They think he's just in character, not speaking and stuff. Takes her brother, you know, his supposed, which isn't his supposed girlfriend's brother, under his wing, and he's like showing him how to cause trouble and do horrible things, and then things get a little bit more sinister later on. But yeah, Satan's Little Helper, loads of fun. Such a cool premise, that is really fun. Who's it directed by as well? Because he's done a couple of films that are good. Jeff Lieberman, who I think did Squirm, and there's another one he did, Blue Sunshine, and Just Before Dawn. That's the one. I've got Squirm. I've never watched it. Never seen Blue Sunshine, but Jeff Lieberman directed this, and Just Before Dawn's a great camp slasher, like sort of backwoods slasher as well. Thought I'd just throw in House. Don't need to say too much about it. This is wacky, weird, quite wonderful in its own right. It's just a weird Japanese horror from the 70s. Really wacky, you know. I don't know, maybe the people who made this one some drugs or something. That's the impression I get with it. But okay, on to a few like Italian bits now, you know, just to finish off the pile. And I picked out, of course, I love this one, Lucio Fulci's House by the Cemetery. I think this suits Halloween perfectly. It's set on a house that's literally by the cemetery, you know, by the graveyard. You got Dr. Freudstein in the basement. This old doctor lived there who was like evil and experimenting on people and murdered them, butchered them. And something's lurking in the basement, and I think it's Dr. Freudstein, and it's so good. It's got the hilarious parts as well, like the dubbing of the kid in it, their son called Bob. His voice is just so funny, and anyone who knows this film will know what I'm talking about. It's hilarious. Just his voice in general is just absolutely, really quite like, it's quite polarizing. You're either going to be really annoyed by it or just laugh, and I just do the latter and laugh at it because it's just so funny. Another one from Fulci, from that sort of unofficial trilogy or whatever the class it has, City of the Living Dead. This is awesome. Great zombie film, great Living Dead movie, really gory, some nasty scenes in this one. Check it out. So one of my favourites now, and I did watch this last week again. I think the whole series is really good as well, and that's Paranormal Activity. Great fan footage film. Really, really scary if you have the frame of mind that it's, you know, if you start to think, what if this was real and I was like, you know, with my significant other or my partner, like, you know, filming us sleeping and weird stuff was going on, like things rolling down the landing and the staircase and the door closing and opening, and you know, really, really scary stuff if you want it to be. I don't personally get that scared about it, but I do think it's a good scary idea, Paranormal Activity. It works a lot, and I like the whole series. Another one of them coming actually in this video, which I do prefer to the first one actually. I had to just throw in Suspiria, Dario Argento's classic, loads of witchery, set at a dance school. The aesthetic is amazing, phenomenal colour palette. Yeah, love this edition as well. Got that, but we're not talking about editions today. Let's stick to the films and not get too enthralled in the collecting aspect and what labels they're on and stuff. So Suspiria though, absolute classic. However you can watch it. If you've not seen it, you gotta watch this film. It's got an awesome thumping, pounding score, which is just quite legendary, I think, in my eyes, like iconic. The Goblin score, and it's just a great witch movie. It's so good. Like you don't pass up on Suspiria. If you've heard of it and you thought, oh, I don't fancy that, or no, watch Suspiria. It's so good. It's really artistic. Like it's a really artful, like horror movie. Phenomenal. Another little one I picked from Stuart Gordon, who's a great director as well, did Reanimator, among other films as well, like Dagon and stuff. This stars Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. You got Jeffrey Combs, he's from The Frighteners, like it says here, and like Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs as well are also in From Beyond, and that's Castle Freak. This is really fun. It's a full moon movie, a bit low budget, but the castle, it's about this family, and they've got a blind teenage daughter. They go to live in this castle that the who Jeffrey Combs plays, he's inherited this castle in Europe somewhere, I think it is, and they go to stay there, and there's something lurking around. And this castle has a few dark secrets. And then, of course, we're introduced to the castle freak. You can see his hands there. But Castle Freak, yeah, really good. Another Paranormal Activity, on par with the first one, I think. Paranormal Activity 3. It's like a prequel one. It's video cassettes from the 80s, set before, like, years before the even first movie. Really creepy. One scene, I'm not going to go on too much because I don't want to spoil it, in case some of you haven't seen it. But there's one scene in general. I was at the cinema, and it really creeped me out. You know, when they're trying to escape the grandma's house. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll just say this bit. And they just go into this porch, and suddenly there's just weird occult people there, just like, what? Like, they just go into this porch and, like, to get out of this, like, big house, and there's just these weird people just turn around and stare at them and come towards them. It's so freaky. Paranormal Activity 3. Sequel to sort of Dawn of the Dead, from the Dead trilogy, from George A. Romero, you know, Night, Dawn and Day. Obviously there's the other films as well, but I'm talking, these are the main best three. Day of the Dead, yeah, great continuation, different story, different location, set in an underground bunker. My favourite of that series, and that's Day of the Dead. Check it out. 2 more to go, so I'll whiz through these and then we can call it a wrap on this video. So I picked out another Fulci, Zombie Flesh Eaters. Whoa, it's a great zombie movie, man. Like, you know, it's got so many good sequences, and the zombie makeup just looks absolutely grotesque. And yeah, Zombie Flesh Eaters, don't need to say too much about it apart from it's really good. Watch it. Pretty iconic as well, especially in the horror community. It's got some awesome, gruesome, gory effects. Take a sick bag with you or whatever. It's not for the weak, faint of heart. You know, it's a bit gruesome, but yeah, Zombie Flesh Eaters, also known as Zombie. And I picked out another Stuart Gordon one to finish off the video, and that is Reanimator, starring Jeffrey Combs. This is fantastic. It's based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. Tells the story of Herbert West, who's a medical student, and he starts experimenting with reanimating the dead with deadly effects, and that's Reanimator. So that's my 31. Oh, one more. I'll do you a bonus, so we'll do 32. Now this is perhaps, no, not even perhaps, this is the greatest horror film ever made. Like, don't listen to what anybody says, anybody else. No, listen to me. This is the greatest horror movie ever made, and I'm doing this little bit for people who haven't seen it. If you haven't seen this movie, it surpasses the original tenfold, and it's the greatest horror movie ever made, and that's from 2010, and that's the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. This is seriously the greatest thing you will ever witness in the horror genre. It's full of atmosphere, aesthetic, the characters are just spot on. The storytelling is magnificent. The new rendition of Freddy Krueger is just superior in every way, every aspect, and every... Sorry, I can't do it anymore. That was a joke. It's not. It's pretty awful. It's not a great remake. I don't hate it as much as some people, but that was just a joke. Sorry. But yeah, there's my 31. Whizzed through them. Well, it took me a while, but thanks for tagging me, Ash. That's great. Fantastic, man. Sorry I didn't get back to you quick enough. You message me on Instagram. I don't always look at my Instagram messages that often if I'm doing other stuff, but I do try to. But I'll have to sort you my number or something if you want to but get hold of me about anything. But that was great, man. Thanks for tagging me. Apparently I need to tag 2 people now, so I found this quite difficult. I thought, who shall I tag, because I don't always speak to that many people, like in the sort of horror community. I mean, I speak to a few people and have done, like through the comments and stuff, which is awesome and that. But so I'm going to tag my mate Stuart George. I don't know if he'll want to do it. Stuart, if you don't want to do it, whatever, man. But I'm going to tag you, and I'm also going to tag for this challenge the second one, because I watched Ash's video and he tagged 2 people. So I'll do Stuart George and I'll do Frank's Collecting Castle. So Stuart George, if you want to take part, I'm tagging you for this challenge, and Frank's Collecting Castle, I'm also tagging you. So there's my tags. There's my 31 sort of like recommendations for Halloween. Hopefully I did the video right. I think that's what you meant to do. I did watch Ash's video from the other day, and where he nominated me and Mondo Check or whatever, yeah, and nominated us, and I agreed to do it. But hopefully I've done it right, so do let me know. But thanks for watching anyway, and I'll see you on another video. I'm just waiting for this light up. I won't tell you what it is because I might do an unboxing of it, but I'm waiting for some Halloween decorations basically, and they're just taking ages to turn up. But anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate you tagging me, Ash. Great stuff. Enjoyed this video. Now I've got the lovely and exciting, wonderful task of putting it all back on the shelves. Thanks a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.